Welcome to Spiritual Vacancy, a podcast to help fill your spiritual void and to find your inner light. We talk about all things spiritual, metaphysical, and the unknown. We have topics including psychic mediums, Reiki, tarot readers, ghost hunting, and so much more. We thank you for being here, and we hope you enjoy today's episode. Hey, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever y'all are listening to us. On today's episode, I have a new guest. Her name is Monika the Medium. She's actually from California and lives in North Carolina now, which is very similar to me, except I'm in South Carolina, but I love talking to another California girl. And
Absolutely. Hi.
yeah, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
So excited.
Me
Thank you for
too.
having me.
Yeah, of
I
course.
feel the energy going back and forth already. I'm like getting that little tingly feeling. So yeah.
I love it. And you are a medium and you are living in Charlotte, North Carolina now. So how did you become a medium? How did you start this journey? Like
You
what?
know what? I feel like this journey has been since day one. I was teeny tiny and I would be telling my parents all kinds of things. Like we were in a small neighborhood and the father across the street had passed, and I'm like, he's standing right there. What are you talking about? Like just things like that would happen to me. I would hear, smell, feel all of it. So I would give messages and it really freaked my parents out, as it should, like, okay, what's going on here? Why is she talking like nobody else is talking? Animals coming through, different things like that. And of course, as a child, it scared me as well. Until one day, believe it or not, like I literally was walking down the hallway and I dropped to my knees. I saw Jesus standing right there. And I'm like, what do I need to do? So I was a kid. This is all happening. It's overwhelming. Parents get divorced. I lost a childhood friend and we moved, and it was just like, okay, shut it down because nobody else speaks like this. We're not doing this. It must be me, as any child thinks. Um, but throughout my teenage years and everything else, I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to go to that party, or we need to slow down, avoiding an accident and stuff like that. So things like that would just happen. And in my adult life, then I would be at church and I'd be like, oh, I need to tell the pastor something. Or would get that client that just lost somebody and I would give them a message, and it wasn't like I would go seek it at all. It would just come to me, and it just kept coming to me. And it wasn't until later on where my mom's like, oh, both grandmas used to tell us things and see things and stuff. And I'm like, I felt like Adam Sandler, like, things I should have known yesterday, because it just, you just feel like out of sorts. So like I said, I shut it down for a very long time, and anxiety and all kinds of stuff was happening. We moved across the country, and I don't know what it is about North Carolina, but I always felt like I belonged here anyway. Because my family came from Germany and my dad was in the service. They landed here, but they decided to move to California. Um, so basically, I got here and it just went kaboom. It was this sacred land, perimenopause, realizing I'm on the spectrum, all these different things happening, and just meeting these moms and different people around me, and I just wouldn't feel comfortable, and I would get that anxiety, or I would feel like, I need to go home, or no, I don't need to be here, or I need to give this person a message. And then I would get that look on my face, and my friends, my real ones, knew like, oh, something's happening. I better listen or whatever. So people started talking about it and going, oh, I need a message, or, I want, how would I get a message? And I'm like, it just happens. Well, it doesn't just happen. Um, all of a sudden, COVID hit, and it was my time to stop being in banking and using a creative outlet, which I did for like a vendor. And I just started building my business of, okay, what do I need to do? And I hit so many walls with shadow work and what's really going on. And I had coaches and mentors and reading, and I just could not get hold of enough information. And it just finally was like, and especially with TikTok too, all of a sudden I was like, I'm not the only person feeling this. I'm not the only person coming online. I really feel like something's going on. And I get songs and movies and stuff, and they show me all the time. The biggest example, which was my son's favorite movie, was Bug's Life, and where one little ant sheds a light, and another one, and another one, and another one, and that's what we're meant to do. And so I was a big fan of John Edward. After my father passed 30 years ago, I was like, one day I'm going to meet him. And I did, and I got a reading. And another time he was giving a reading and he turned around and I pointed and he's like, how did you know that I was going there? How did you know? And I'm like, I don't know. So I've gotten validation throughout my life. It has just been now these last few years where I'm just like, okay, I'm going to sit down. So basically, if you booked an appointment with me, and I love party planning. I will, if it's in person, I will set up a table. I will have a color that they give me. Sorry. I will have a color. And so I get a tablecloth. I put some flowers out. I'll put the right crystals out. I'll put the cards out, which most of the time I don't even use, but like just to have them there. And I'll put a snack. And it's just two people, and I'll have all the notes ahead of time, and I'll go boom, 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 boom. What, who's this? Mother's side, blah, 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 dad's side. And we'll go through things, and then it'll turn sometimes into a coaching session of you're really a healer, or you're meant to do Reiki, or you're meant, and this is how you kind of go about it. So that's just been my path of it's always been there. I think everybody always has that.
Yes.
Um, and that's basically how I've gotten to this point where it's just like, okay, I can't hold it back anymore. I need to give people these messages and get them online and give them their worth
Right.
and know that they're not alone as well.
Right. Is that kind of like when you said 2020 hit, right? And you were in banking. So you were in banking your whole life?
Yes.
Okay. And did you get furloughed or was there like a
Um,
job
you know
change at
what?
this
It
point?
got to the point where, well, it's so funny because I was at a credit union back home, and I did, for the first time in my life since I was 16 years old, I got laid off.
Okay.
And I couldn't understand why in 2017 this happened. And I couldn't understand why. Well, 6 months later, we were moving to North Carolina.
Okay.
My grandma had just passed. My son had graduated high school. I got laid off. And 20 years earlier, somebody that my husband worked for had moved here and is in the same line of business, and called him because they'd always stayed in contact.
Wow.
And it was like all the things that had to happen to get me here. And
Right.
then when I was working from home, and I just would cry every morning, like, this is not what I'm meant to do.
Oh,
And finally was like, you need to do something different. So I stopped.
right. And
And I
that
just
was
finally just, okay, universe, you got me, catch me. And I have that Indiana Jones movie, the Third Crusade always kind of comes up, where it's like that leap of faith where you don't see how you're going to get across to the other side, but if you just let the universe take over, it's fine. So
right.
yeah,
Which is so
yeah,
good too, because it is like sometimes the worst things in your life that we think of, like you being let go, or,
yeah.
like, what am I going to do now? It ended up being the best direction, like things you couldn't even imagine where
Oh
it
yeah.
took you, where it's like in that moment you can't see past it, where you're like, oh, I can't believe this happened. And then it shifted, and you're like, thank God that happened because it got
Yeah.
me to where I am
Yeah,
today.
and that's what I try to tell my clients too, is don't be afraid to be alone. Don't be, if you start noticing that your friends are stepping aside, or you're saying no, or or a job gets taken away, that's just the redirection. This is, you see Robin Williams going, how exciting.
Yeah.
What are we going to do next? How exciting, So yeah.
Yeah, so when you said you got mentors, did you find that you kind of resonated more with some mentors than others, or
Yeah.
some that you paid for that you didn't really feel were beneficial to your growth? And
Yes, that happens too. There were a couple that have really just like really helped me to focus, to direction and everything else. And the other ones, There was one or two that not so much, where it was like, I already know all this. Why am
Mhm.
I paying someone else to tell me
Yep.
what I already know? Or you are completely off base. And it's just that happens. Well, one of the two, you just got to pay attention because, I was female, he was male, and it was online, and it was like wanting to have more conversations with me. And I'm like, no, no, no. This
Oh.
this is where yeah. So I was a little surprised at that. So anyway, wasn't even thinking about him until just now. But yeah. And another one was just like I call them soft messages, like the software was like, okay, well, yeah, these are things I already knew. And you've helped me because I'm grateful for their time. I'm grateful for, whatever knowledge I can gain from them. But at the same time, sometimes you just need somebody to stare you straight in the face and go, you got to do that shadow work or else you're not moving forward, or you got to look and be uncomfortable because you have the power. But sometimes a lot of people I see do not want to do that work. And there's been generational traumas and cycles that I've had to break and apologize to my kids for and stuff. So it's those things where you're just like, "Ugh," or I carry guilt for my father's passing that didn't belong to me.
Mhm.
And a lot of, I needed somebody to say, you really need to look at that.
Yeah.
So it's that spiritual weight that I like to help people remove as well, because it's like, oh my gosh, look what's under there. Look what you have. So yeah, so the mentors have helped. I'll always say that they've helped. It's
Mhm.
just sometimes a little more than others.
Yeah, well, yes. I think on this journey, I think a lot of times people, because it is confusing sometimes on this path, so you will just pick the first mentor, the person that you
Right.
see. But then I've heard so many times where, which mostly mine are women, even my clients or whoever, friends that are diving into this, and it's it's the same stuff that they already know, or it's super basic but very expensive, or
Right.
there's no growth. And so that
So
is
you want
something,
to, yeah,
yes.
I'm sorry. You want to have that price point where you feel like, okay, it, my time is very important and
Hmm.
that respect as well. But also you don't want to just be like, oh, there's a butterfly in that. No. If you
Right.
talk to me, there is a specific song. I'm talking about you just went to the dentist and had something done on your tooth and, blah, blah, blah. Like things that there is no way that I would know because I don't walk with you every day.
Right.
And to show them these are the things for validation, and that's why I mentioned John Edward before, is because he would do those things as validation. Yes, I'm with you, I'm with your energy. This is what happened the other day, and there's no way I would know. And then you move to what the message is, and then you move to, hey, how can you tune in when I'm not around so that hey, this number means this person, this song means this person, this means that, the ear ringing, the different signs that you get.
Right.
Um, so
Yeah.
that they know, and that the point is that they don't need you forever. They just need you to maybe stand them up for a little bit like a toddler and then they can
Right.
go. Yeah,
Right.
because they're babies, they're baby lights, and it's time to like open them up.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I think of.
Yeah. I love John Edwards. I think
Yeah,
he's one of my favorites, Teresa Caputo,
yeah,
and that's about
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, no, I mean
Um,
between those two, but yeah.
yeah, they're my favorite. Not saying the other ones are bad. There's just differences where I'm like,
Right.
I don't know if I can watch the others all the time.
There is a Jonathan Lewis that John Edward works with. He is
Oh, I don't think I knew him.
then yeah, if you want to check him out. But yeah, he's phenomenal too, because I think you just know when
Hmm.
you're with somebody that are, like you, I know, like I get that feeling, like I know you give messages. I know you're on that other side.
Right.
And it's so hard for me sometimes when, you're on just a regular person. I don't mean that in that, but just somebody that doesn't do this on the daily and they don't see that. And they're just so busy with their distractions that they don't see the little things that are going on. And when you point them out or when they slow down, and it's just like, mind blowing.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they can start seeing it themselves and working on that way, because I really feel like we chose now to be here to raise that light, and it's time.
Oh, definitely. And it's getting more and more, so I love it. I love how more and
Yes.
more people are coming into this or finding their awakening or what it is that whatever they're drawn to, because there's so many different modalities to medium.
Yeah.
Mediums can be several words, you know what I mean, or several
Yeah.
different occupations, practitioners. I mean, that word can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah. I mean, I liken it to everybody has their vibe,
Hmm.
and we're part of the orchestra, and everybody needs to do their
Yeah.
part, have their own vibe that only they have, and it just fits right into the next slot and the next slot, and then it just is like a kaboom. My ears starting to ring but when I'm saying this. So I was like,
I love
ding. That's
it.
funny.
So, like on your journey into mediumship, what was one of the most challenging things for you? And then what was one of the most rewarding?
Okay, so the most challenging was doing that shadow work, really diving into unlocking memories, unlocking things, really believing what I was hearing, because, like, I liken it to another language. When I was little, my first person who watched me was from Spain, and then my Oma would come from Germany, and I would jumble things. And then when I was little, I didn't want to speak German in front of other people, because I just felt like, I'm here. I want to speak English. I want to speak English. You're a kid and you just want to be rebellious. And now it's like that other language that comes through. And now I know why I am the way I am with my tism coming out sometimes, is because I wouldn't have been able to translate it or whatever. Because when I was little, it was like a letter, a color, and a number meant the same thing. They had the same weight. So trying to figure out what it is exactly that is coming through hasn't been the problem. It's how to get it to the person, or so that they understand it.
Hmm.
And then doing that shadow work so that you feel like, you've peeled off enough layers, and the more that you really meditate and think about things and write, not that you always have to be, but just sometimes something will hit me and I'll think, oh, I'm going to write this down. And then I'm on a completely different tangent. And it's just something that needed to get out at that moment. So that shadow work has been difficult, and people kind of making fun. I don't know if they do that with you. They're like, oh, give me the lotto numbers, or do
Oh,
this or that, or
oh yeah.
they don't like, it's a very small circle that I have that is, have either known me all my life or have known me for a long period of time here, where they trust
Mhm.
that I'm not just, reading their mind or I'm not doing that. It's like
Right.
when I'm just going about my day, I'm going about my day. I'm not thinking, oh, what is she? So just the little stigmatisms that go with that fields are still around, that sometimes
Hmm.
like, what are you talking about? Like,
Right.
and then,
Yes.
um, the most rewarding part is, and I get emotional with that, is like, don't get emotional, is giving that peace to somebody, and giving that, showing them, hey, you are honoring them in all that you do. You are talking, and they tell me all the time, they meaning my guides, is like, give them something to do, have them help you. Like, I literally am talking about a mentor. I literally was like, Dad, I need you to watch my son. I need you to go. And he was going on a cruise and with his dad, and I was worried about it. And my mentor said, why do I see your dad on a speedboat to a cruise ship? And I'm like, because he's going. And it's like, if people realize that they're not gone, they're
Right.
here, you can talk to them, they will go through so much. I mean, look at how our FYP brought us together, the technology, everything like that, for this message to get through, because they will go through everything just to make sure that you know. And a lot of people aren't realizing when they're seeing the number, they're hearing the songs, they're seeing the movie, that grief that all of a sudden just hits you out of nowhere. And you're like, why? Why am I feeling this? It's because they're there and they're trying to get your attention. And they will. I wholeheartedly know that they save you, they help you, they redirect you, um, and stuff like that. So that's the part that is just freaking amazing. And I'm sure you know the validation when they come back to you and go, hey, when you mentioned this XYZ,
Mhm.
this is how it unfolded. And that is so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
is beautiful when with the healing. You're 100%
Healing.
right. That's what it's about, is the healing.
Yeah.
And I feel like every time I do a session, I heal myself in a little way.
Mm-hmm.
And, it gives back to us because we still
100%.
grieve. A lot of people think that we don't grieve because of what we do, but our grief, it can be just as hard as anybody else's. And it is healing. I
So
feel like
valid.
I heal a little bit more every time I do a reading. So, I mean, the
Yeah.
healing is, it's powerful. It's
Yeah.
very powerful in what we do. So, yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Um, if you could give one piece of advice to anybody listening that is on their beginning journeys, middle, end, whatever it might be, whatever they're doing, what would you give to anybody?
The biggest thing that has helped me is protecting my energy, setting that boundary and setting that intention. I get in the shower and I wipe off the energy, get it out of here. I set, do the sage, a simmer pot. There's so many different ways you can protect your energy or just have that intention. Because especially somebody that is sensitive, you pick up on people's energy and all of a sudden you're irritated or you're like, what's going on? Like, stop. Or they drain you. You get home and you're like, I can't even see straight right now because,
Mhm.
it's just those energy vampires. And I know that's so cliche to say, but it could
Mhm.
also be within your four walls, where somebody, teenagers, different people are just like, and you have to light every cell up in your body. You have to put those images out, the mirrors, the protection, and you got to know, hey, and I have a specific prayer that I say before every session, and it includes, like, the white roots to Mother Gaia, the archangel wings around us, like, because feathers, nothing's going to permeate that, the whatever. So there's just different things that I do specifically, and that I would encourage anybody to do, is protect their energy when they go throughout their day. And then, yeah, just learning what works for them, because everybody has a different way. I'm sure you have your own routine
Mhm.
that you do. And it just becomes something that you don't even have to say the whole thing. You don't have to think the whole thing. You just got to go shields up or something,
Right.
and you just feel better.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then acknowledging everything around us is energy. So
Right.
I've
Yes.
really, because of the native land, like respecting, hey, this is
Mhm.
your space, I'm just in it, like I
Yeah.
acknowledge you. The
Yeah.
trees, the all of it, is really powerful, because then you feel connected in that fabric and
Right.
you feel better. Because I don't know if you went through anything, but for me, I went through those anxiety and depression bouts and I couldn't understand why. And it
Oh,
was
yeah. Yeah.
it was about, I mean, I was so low going, what am I here for? What's good? And it was always, your first purpose is love. And secondly, acknowledge that you're just this part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me.
Definitely, yeah. And I love that you were like set boundaries because, for me, it is important to set boundaries because, if I do a group reading or if I'm doing a public demonstration or things like that, and people will ask, isn't that draining? And I'm like, no. You know what's draining? The living. The living drains the life out of me, not the dead.
Yes.
The living is so living people
Yeah.
are so draining. I'm like, if you're going to protect your energy, do it with the living more than the dead, because I promise you the dead's going to give.
Yeah,
They're
it's not.
giving
And on
us
the other,
that.
yeah, I always feel love from the other side, or
Me
I always get
too.
that tip of the hat or whatever. But I'll be on a TikTok live and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm getting tired. And it's not because of the messages, it's because of the
The
people that
Levine.
just want more and more and more from
God
you.
bless you for doing that. I could never do a
Yeah.
TikTok
So,
live. I'm
yeah.
like, all those me, you do that. I'm like, oh, that's a whole different ball game. I could not.
Yeah, it is, especially through technology. But I really think that, those messages, you don't have to be in person. You don't have to
Right.
be, it could be an email. Like
Oh,
the
correct. Yeah,
message will
anything.
get to you when you need that message. And
Yeah.
sometimes though, and that's something I have learned also from John, is you don't get the message sometimes from the person you want. It could be that ex-mother-in-law, or you get the message that you need
Oh,
at that
definitely. Yeah.
moment. It's not, oh, where's my ring or whatever. It's no, this is deeper than that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I'm like, I'm booked. I only have 2 more spots till next year. So I'm like, I'm booked, I'm booking out. So I'm like, I'm good. But that is a whole different ball game on TikTok Live. That stuff is nuts.
Oh
I'm like,
wow.
God bless all of you doing those because that is draining. I can't even
It
imagine
is.
the people pulling your energy. But I think if you love it, that's all that matters. If you
Yeah, no, I
enjoy
just
it,
started doing that and I do like it because it gets the name out and I've gotten a few clients. I've done a
good.
George Norrie live event because my husband is in radio and he works with George Norrie. So all these different things, and because of that I've had the clients and the doors opening. But
That's
I am working towards that being booked, to the end. I want to put something together to coach and to have that weekend or day retreat type of thing. So, man, I'm gonna have to pick your brain at some point too.
definitely. I'm always free to like give advice or anything I can help with, most definitely.
Yeah, everybody's journey is so different, and
It is. It's
yes,
very different, but that's why I love hearing how everybody got to where they are because it's so beautiful and
it
healers
has been
need to
a
unite, you know?
like,
We've
oh,
all
I've
been
been
there.
mortgage banking all my life. No, 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 I'm a vendor. No. And, and so I've had to be redirected, a lot of times in life.
Yeah. But it's beautiful though when spiritual people come together and support each other because this is not an easy career. It is very taxing emotionally, physically. And, I feel like a lot of times when we are spiritual healers, we're the hardest on ourselves. So it's like we just really have to give ourselves self-love too, because we usually give it out, but we don't get it back. So,
Right?
a lot of times we need the healing too.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's nice to find someone that can understand or relate to what we go through on a daily.
Yeah,
So,
that has been
yeah.
so rewarding to know. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much
You're
for being
welcome.
here today. So this is Monica the Medium. You can find her at the Healing Tree Boutique. Is that .com?
Yes.
Okay, is that also on Facebook, TikTok,
Yes.
everywhere? Perfect. And do you have is that the website where they could book a reading with you as well? Or
Yes,
that's
that's right.
everything? Perfect.
Yes, ma'am. Everything is all together under one umbrella. Itty bitty ones, 5, 10, 15 minute ones, or half hour, either the coaching sessions or the, messages. And usually it's a combination of both that winds up coming through. So,
Perfect.
like, okay, XYZ is here and they're telling me that you have to do XYZ. So that's
Yeah.
usually what's happening there. I'm like, okay, you don't have to be so.
I love
And they're
it.
like, who is they? Who is that? The people that are right behind you? I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, it's interesting sometimes how they come through, but I definitely can do FaceTime, Zoom, phone call, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Perfect. Well, thank you so
All right.
much for
Thank you.
being here and telling your story. And you guys go
Appreciate
check
you.
her out. Go follow her
Thank
on
you.
Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Take
And we
care.
hope y'all have a beautiful day. I'll see y'all next week. Namaste.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.